What's up? It's hashtag Ask Lauren. Yes, we just did a very long version of Ask Lauren the other night on Wednesday for the live stream of my mukbang. But it is Friday, which means you get another Q&A. So yeah, this week was a little different. We did a foreign in real life on Monday. My friend Phoebe. She was just here visiting, so we shot a lot of stuff in that location in my room there, and I'm just gonna cut it up into different things. And yeah, like some of you don't even know who Phoebe is, and some people are watching because they remember us from TV, so just thought I'd throw it out there. That's the luxury of doing YouTube, is you can do whatever you want and see what happens, and it doesn't really matter if people watch or they don't. You can't see my shirt, but it's like a wolf. It's a wolf shirt. I was thinking maybe I would just do all the vegan questions again, because there seems to be a lot of vegan questions. Let's do that. Okay, it's all the vegan questions, part 3. POI, or POI, said, do you ever feel stressed or nervous when other people fix you vegan food when they're not vegan? For example, do you worry they forget that butter was not vegan, and how do you deal with this? Well, I think somebody commented on that on my Vancouver vlog, and then I posted my Okanagan vlog, and if you watched that, you saw that I ate this soy cheese from Okanagan Soy that has casein in it, and casein is a milk protein, so it is not vegan. I don't know why you would make that cheese with soy and then add casein. It makes no sense to me because you're still eating the dairy. So that happened, and I realized after, and I felt like, oh, I wish I didn't eat that. Like, I felt like I had been tainted. But like, whatever, I'm not gonna get my panties in a knot about it. Like, what can I do? I'm not gonna throw up my food. I'm not gonna go scream at the chef. Like, it doesn't matter. So sometimes I worry, but I usually just feel like when I'm at a restaurant, I do ask a lot of questions. For instance, with that soy cheese, I ate it the first day, didn't question anything, and then they kept serving it to me, and I was like, I kind of wondered, I was like, it tastes too good. I'm like, this doesn't taste like Daya, basically. Like, I could tell. I had never tried this branded cheese before, so I then asked the chef the next day, what brand are you using? Can I see the package? And then that's how I found out. So when I'm at a restaurant, I always say like, and no butter, right? There's no butter on it. Do they cook the mushrooms in butter? Whatever. I ask a lot of questions, so usually I feel pretty confident just in how the person's answering me, or usually they're just like, I'm gonna go to the kitchen and ask the chef, don't worry. And I feel like it's common enough for vegans to be dining out that like most people know. So I don't worry about that too much, and I don't think you should either. All right. Here's an interesting one. Amelia Heiselberg basically said she's been dating a guy for 6 months. They're talking about moving in together, and they're currently in a long distance relationship. But the problem is that she's vegan and he isn't. And for a while, I thought it wouldn't bother me, but recently there have been numerous instances where his behavior towards my choice of lifestyle has made me angry or uncomfortable. He often jokes about it or mocks me playfully, and when we're in a larger group of people and someone's being rude, he never sticks up for me and sometimes joins in. When I confront him about it making me uncomfortable, he makes the excuse that joking, but everything is part of his personality. And we've watched Cowspiracy together, and he found it educational, but has made it very clear he will never transition into vegan. Is this relationship a lost cause? Do you have any advice for me? Would love to hear your thoughts, or if you've experienced something similar. I have talked about in the past how my ex-boyfriend, who I was with for quite a long time, wasn't vegan, and I became vegan while I was with him. And he ate pretty crappy and like ate burgers and pizza and whatever. I mean, I eat that, but it's vegan. But actually at the beginning of going vegan, I was really doing it for health reasons, so I was eating very, very clean. And he was never interested in eating my food, and so it really started to annoy me. And I think it was just on top of everything else that was not really satisfactory to me. And I think I focused in on all the problems, and then eventually we just drifted apart. And I think probably the diet thing was one of those things. And for me, I'm not saying this is everybody, because there are lots of couples who are vegan, not vegan, and it works out fine. It just depends on how you're going to process the information and how like you want to deal with it. Like for me, it was really important that somebody shared food with me. I love food. I'm obsessed with food. I was running a food blog. I was cooking. I was experimenting. I wanted somebody to eat my food and go, instead of like, So, And he wasn't saying that because it wasn't good. He was saying that because he didn't have the taste for the kind of food I was making and he had no interest. So anyways, it did become a problem for me, but I'm not saying that's the case for everybody. It sounds like it's becoming a problem because he's not being very respectful, and I think that's a whole other issue. Like, whether you're vegan or not, is your partner like making fun of you for something that you're passionate about, you know? So that being said, I mean, you can't also like condemn him or penalize him or berate him for not being vegan the same way he's making comments or mocking you for being vegan. So I'm not really sure. I think you need to have some open communication, and maybe you need to express how hurtful it is to you when he is sort of like joining in on the mockery when other people, like when you're in a group and stuff. Like, maybe see what he thinks about the fact that you're vegan. Like, is he uncomfortable by you being vegan? Maybe he's trying to deflect some of that awkwardness by like making jokes. You know, joking about everything is someone's personality. Like, that's a whole other thing, because there's joking and there's teasing and there's also just like rude and like inconsiderate and disrespectful. So I don't really know what's going on specifically, and I don't want to accuse either of you of doing anything. So just look at the picture a little bit bigger, and also decide, like, is it really important to you to have somebody in your life who is vegan that you're going to share your life with? Or if they're really great in so many other ways, can you look beyond that? That's a decision you have to make for yourself. Somebody said, have you tried, Trine Sorensen said, have you tried rice paper bacon? Would love to see you try it out. A few people have talked to me about this. I haven't watched the video, but it is linked here. Lacon, or lovely bacon. It's only 800 views. Rice paper bacon, yeah, looks pretty cool. I don't know why they added so much nutritional yeast to the batter. Oil, soy sauce, liquid smoke. We could just use the same thing we use for our bacon and put it on. Yeah. Cool. Well, maybe I've never actually tried making it or tasted it, but maybe we could do that. We, of course, made cassava bacon, which was amazing. In fact, I think it might be better than rice bacon because cassava is meatier and thicker than rice paper. And I don't know, it really was amazing. So go find that recipe on hotforfoodblog.com, and it's in our big salad challenge on the YouTube channel. But if you just want the recipe, just go to the blog. And of course, we make coconut bacon and tempeh bacon, and you can make tofu bacon, and we make portobello mushroom bacon, and all of that's on hotforfoodblog.com. It's essentially the exact same marinade. You're just putting it on different things. Solia said, my question is, I'd like to know your opinion on how to cease worrying and actually interfering in other people's lives when they're not vegan. I really want to influence propitiously, that's a big word that I don't know, on my relatives and make them at least vegetarians, but I fully understand it's impossible without their will and desire. Just how to live my own life and don't care about others and lose my energy on things I can't change. Well, I did do a video about how to deal with non-vegans that you should go watch, which I will link right now in the card and below. How to deal with non-vegans. So watch that because that's a full answer, but my whole thing is just leave it alone. I mean, you can have some questions. I mean, you can have some, conversations and bring certain things up, but really you just want to set a good example. You just want to like bring really good food over when you're having family dinner so that they're curious and they ask questions, more like allowing the door to go open and then they walk through and they start asking the questions, rather than like trying to force everybody through the door, trying to force everybody to like talk about it. You just gotta leave it alone. I mean, you might not make your family vegetarian. So what? They're still your family. I don't know. I'm really just, the more I talk about this and the more videos I do for some reason, the less I start to lose a bit of the fight. Like, I keep talking about how it is exhausting and it is a waste of your energy to try and push your views on other people. And you might say, well, I'm not just pushing my views. I'm just trying to let them know some information that they might not already know. And that's fine. But if they're not ready and willing to listen, they'll just dismiss what you're saying and say, it's not true. There's no science. That's a load of crap. I believe what I believe. So why bother? Like, everyone's always trying to prove they're right all the time. And it's just like, you know what? At the end of the day, maybe we're not right either as vegans. I don't friggin' know. The more I start talking about this, the more I'm just like, guys, like, give it up. Like, just set a good example, do your thing, and people will follow, and people who are ready and willing will come to you, i.e. just how I'm doing this YouTube channel, and I'm really not pushing anything, and all of a sudden your curiosities are piqued and you start eating vegan meals at breakfast, lunch, and dinner all of a sudden. So I'm not even trying. I'm not trying to make you go vegan. I'm just giving some information here, and you can choose to watch it or you can click right off. You know what I'm saying? So treat your real life like that too. Just keep watching or click off. Go away. I don't care. Anyway, I know it's hard when it's your family and you think that you know, you've seen the light and everything, but you just gotta just set the example and become more passive about it. And that will actually be more effective because you're gonna pique their curiosity and when you're not forceful or aggressive, then they'll come around, you know? Here's an interesting one that I've avoided talking about because I really don't have a full answer, but somebody just said they became vegan. Olivia said she became vegan after watching Cowspiracy and Earthlings, and I've influenced her as well. Thank you. What is your stance on vegans who aren't sure about whether or not they should consume honey? So I don't eat honey purposefully. I don't buy things with honey. I don't buy honey, consume honey, although in the past I've eaten Manuka honey, and at the beginning of being vegan, I continued to eat Manuka honey, raw honey, for health benefits, and then I just kind of was like, I don't need this, whatever. I don't really know what the issue is with the bee population. I know that there are hundreds and hundreds, perhaps thousands of bee species that are helpful in pollination, and those are separate from honeybees. Honeybees make honey and they pollinate, but anyways, what I'm trying to say is there's lots and lots of breeds and species of bees, and a lot of the populations are dwindling and perhaps becoming extinct because of pesticides and all kinds of things. And again, I'm speaking very generally because I don't really know the science. I'm sure Unnatural Vegan or any one of these people that I've mentioned before has a video about honey that we could watch, but for me, I can leave honey. Like, I don't love it. It doesn't matter to me. So I've just kind of been very passive about that in the sense of I'm just not going to eat it, but I'm also not even going to go do the research or know what I'm talking about, why I'm not eating it, or why you shouldn't, or why you should. Maybe you should eat it. Maybe eating the honey is good. I don't know. I really don't know that much about bee farming and factory farming bees, honeybees, is that a thing? But you know, when I was in Vancouver and I was at that rooftop garden at the Fairmont, now this was interesting, they had honeybees, their own little hives there. They had somebody who took care of them every day, and it was very fine, and the bees were pollinating their rooftop garden. Then, to help the bee population in BC, which I think she said there was, 200 or 300 different species, they built like a bee condo on the roof so that bees would come and make their little hives and burrows there and then help pollinate their garden, but also pollinate whatever other local community gardens are around Vancouver. So it seemed like a really cool initiative to help the climate, or to help the environment, and to help the bee population. And so in that case, it would have been probably fine ethically to eat that honey at the hotel if it came on the side or was in something. Maybe it was even in the dressing. I actually have no idea. But again, it's kind of one of those things, like if I'm out and someone's like, let's say there's just nothing to eat and there's like, I can eat this granola but there's honey in it, then I will eat it. But that's like if there's just nothing else to eat. But usually I avoid it and I don't buy anything with honey. So anyways, I don't know. That was a long rambling answer with no conclusion other than the fact that I really don't know what I'm talking about. But because I'm just not into looking into a lot of information, I'm just happy to kind of leave it alone, and I don't need to eat honey because I'd rather not even get into these conversations with non-vegans about, I'm not going to stand up for the bees or anything because I don't even know what's going on. But I figure if I don't eat the honey, then no harm done. We need bees to pollinate our food, and we're vegan, so we eat fruits and vegetables, and that requires bees to pollinate stuff. So I can't really be against, using bees for their purpose, which is to pollinate plants for us to eat. I'm not against that. But I don't really care about eating the honey. Like, I can take it or leave it. I prefer maple syrup. It was a long answer about honey. So I don't know, you need to make up your own mind. If you really are into reading a lot about that bee thing, go ahead. I just haven't, I picked my battles. There's a lot of things I know about. There's some things I just don't know about when it comes to veganism, and I don't really care. Okay, so thoughts on Rachel William Talon said, thoughts on vegetarianism. I'm vegetarian. I eat dairy and eggs. I would love to go vegan. Maybe towards the end of the year. I would love to know your thoughts on vegetarians, whether they even make a slight difference or not. God, I hate vegetarians. Just kidding. I don't. I was vegetarian from the time I was 12 until I was in my second year of college, and then I started eating meat again, and then I went back and forth, and then I finally went vegan. So I do think, based on the information I know and watching documentaries like Cowspiracy and a lot of other ones, that reducing your red meat consumption or chicken or any of these meats is helpful to the environment and not contributing to the demand of meat. But I guess my opinion now, being vegan and having learned more, is just that when you're still continuing to buy the byproducts of the factory farming industry, then you're still contributing to the major problem. And the demand for byproducts still therefore creates a demand for the main product, even though, you know, eggs come from egg-laying chickens and chicken breasts come from broilers, as they call them, like the chickens that are made for meat. So those are separate things. However, once you kind of learn about the real dirt going on in the dairy and egg industry, then you kind of get turned off of eating the byproducts as well. So seeing as you're already interested in going vegan, you probably already know some stuff about the dairy and egg industry. I myself, on one hand, think that dairy and eggs are almost worse than eating meat, just in terms of what they do to the animals. And I mean, whatever, it's all bad. Like, you kill an animal, but I don't know, there's something dirtier to me about the dairy and the egg industry. Even though the other pork and beef and chicken and all that stuff is bad too, and the animals actually get killed, which they get killed in dairy and egg farming as well. Anyways, it's all bad. It just, I don't know, now that I'm vegan, I'm just like, I can't believe I actually ever ate dairy and eggs and was like, I love these products. Like, now I just like can't even believe I ever ate like that. So, and when you are a vegetarian, you really don't know the difference, and you just justify, like, you need the protein and whatever you need from those products. But like, I just think like what's in eggs and dairy in terms of saturated fat and cholesterol and all these things really is not something your body needs. So that's just my opinion. But anyways, I would suggest transitioning from vegetarian to vegan. It's not going to be that hard, and you are addicted to dairy and cheese, so just stop being an addict. You are addicted. I was addicted at one point too. How do you like my half thing going on here? Okay. If somebody wants me to share how much I pay for groceries, monthly, weekly, or whatever, I will have to start accumulating that information, because I don't know. Because what happens is I go to the grocery store and I split my bill into two. One bill is my personal groceries, and the other bill is what I need for food supplies, for videos and photos and Hoffer food. So I only keep the receipts of my Hoffer food because that's a write-off. Any food, like, you know, stuff that we're legitimately using for dinner and whatnot, that is not an expense, and I don't even keep track of what I spend. I have absolutely no idea. So maybe I will do more grocery shopping informational videos, like I did a grocery shopping video before about what to look for and where to find stuff on the shelves, but I don't even know what I spend. So aren't I lucky I don't have to pay attention to that? That is a very big thing to be grateful for, that I don't need to like budget or anything like that. And I wouldn't, because my whole thing and my whole life has been, I want to spend money on food, on quality food, on good products, on organics, whatever. So I'm just glad I don't have to sacrifice that, which I want. Well, it's kind of a lot of questions. What would an ideal vegan world look like? I don't know. I can't even answer that question, because I'm really unclear as to whether or not it would be good if every single person on the planet was vegan, because I'm starting to just believe in all ways, not just about the vegan lifestyle, that like, you can't have everything all one way. You can't have everybody all one way, believing in one thing, and I don't know, you just can't. I just don't think the world works that way. On a like spiritual level, on an evolutionary level. But that's a whole other video. So I'm not even sure, to be honest, if it makes sense for everybody to go vegan, and if that's even possible. I've changed my tune. I used to say, I think everyone in the world will go vegan eventually. I think the majority of the maybe like first world will go vegan. And then third world is basically vegan because they can't afford to eat meat and dairy. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't feel confident answering that question right now because I really am like in a place of like thinking about that and I don't know what my answer is. Okay, so I don't want to say something I'll regret later. And would these cows, pigs, and chickens live in the wild? Well, I think what would have to happen is that you'd have to set a target date. You'd have to say if we just stopped farming the animals now, how much food is there left to consume without creating new food, like meat. So then decide what that is and say, after all of this is consumed, we will stop farming animals. So new animals won't even be born because they would stop artificially breeding them for food. And then there would have to be a future date, like, you know, at this point we will no longer sell meat in the stores, and once it's all cleared, I mean, that would happen pretty quickly because it doesn't last long, right? It would go out and then it would, so I'm like, in my big weird head imagination think like that's possible, like that could happen because it's going to start being too expensive and environmentally detrimental to continue this process. So I don't think there would be a whole lot of animals alive roaming around. I actually think, and I don't really like saying this, but let's get rid of what exists currently in the factory farms, but then stop making new animals for food. And then of course all you'd have left is wild animals, animals that live on farm sanctuaries, and maybe a few other random things. But I don't think there'd be this overpopulation of releasing farm animals into the wild. I mean, that would probably ruin the environment. So I actually think you should probably kill those ones and eat those ones and then say after this date, no more. This is a very simplistic idea and opinion. I have no idea what the actual science behind any of this would be. Okay, and then she said, what's your opinion on taking drugs tested on animals? Well, I guess every drug is tested on animals. Is that, I don't actually know, but I assume a lot of them are. And I sometimes do take painkillers like Advil, which I've said this before, I don't even know if those are vegan. Not the gel caps, but like the hard ones. I take them very rarely, but if I got a headache, I'm just like, I don't know what else to do. And I drink all the water and I do all the things and then I can't get rid of it, so I take one. So I do that. I've never been vaccinated before. That's a big loaded thing I just said on the internet. But my parents made that decision for me when I was born, so they test vaccines on animals and I've never had them. Although I have had the hepatitis vaccine by my own choice because I was afraid of getting hepatitis through sex. So the fear of everything came over me and I decided, I better get the Twinrix vaccination. I kind of regret it, but whatever. So I don't know. And if I had to travel to another country, I'd have to get vaccinated. I don't know. Do vegans not get vaccinated? If you go vegan later in life, you have no choice. If you were born as a vegan, you probably didn't get vaccinated by your parents. I don't know, guys. That's real loaded. I would obviously try to avoid taking drugs. I don't like taking drugs. And obviously a lot of the pharmaceuticals are tested on animals. I would never resort to taking pharmaceuticals unless I absolutely had to. But even if I had some disease, I would probably resort to natural alternative medicine first before doing whatever some doctor told me to do. That being said, you know, if I got a really like meningitis, knock on wood, or something like that where I needed to take antibiotics, of course I would take them. So I don't know. I avoid cosmetics now tested on animals. Like I don't buy anything that's been tested on animals and that's not vegan. So that's what I'm doing right now. Doing my best from where I am, as are all of you. Okay, so that's all the vegan questions, part 3. I know that there's going to be more coming, so there'll be a part 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, further and longer we do this. Make sure you leave comments below, #AskLauren in your comment if you have a question so that I can find it, and we do Ask Lauren every Friday. That's it for me. I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye. I gotta get a haircut.